Welcome to the Intuition Summit. We are so glad you are here. This is Abby and Emmy, and we have a super special guest. So Lisa has been a dear friend of mine for years now. She's on like every show I do because she's just incredible. And you'll learn more about her in just a few minutes. Emmy, I wanted to bring you on because this is so exciting to do this with you. Can you share a little bit about why you felt called to do this together?
When I first met you, it was instant connection. And I know that our souls are in alignment with a vision of helping everybody connect, or as many people as we can reach, connect with their intuition, because we know how powerful it is for making good decisions, for living on purpose with more meaning and purpose, expanding our creativity, and really more love and joy for ourselves and everyone in the world, including all sentient beings.
Yeah, and you said the key word soul, and I really describe intuition as a soul embodied, and I feel like that is the magic because it really just allows that synergy and that energy to flow to create amazing things. So that's why we're doing the summit, to help people around the world, including you, connect with your intuition to have amazing lives. And Lisa, you've been doing this for how many years now? Like, I would love to hear a little bit more about your backstory. I just know you've been doing it forever, and you're also one of those people that really lives it, right? Like, you're in full integrity. And that's why I was asking you back, and I just love you. So welcome to the show.
Welcome, Lisa.
Thank you. Thank you, Abby. I know it has been kind of forever. I'm now like starting to date myself. And I'm like, I've been at this, 60 plus years, because I was born very awake. So that was its own kind of strangeness. But really, literally, when I started to work with my intuition, being an intuitive healer, and eventually really finding myself in the Akasha, that's been almost 30 years now. So it has really informed my life.
Yeah, absolutely. Can you describe what you call the Akasha or Akashic, and also just tell us a little bit about the books you've written? Because I know you're an international best-selling author. So just to give some people some history about like where you're coming from and exactly what you do, how you're using intuition.
Oh, thank you. I would love to. So the Akashic Records, which is what we delve into more specifically as a rule when I work with clients or I teach my students, the records are the recording of your soul's journey through all time space continuum. So everything you have ever been or done since your soul individuated from source is recorded in this beautiful information arm of the divine, which we call the Akashic Records, or kind of that bigger field often we refer to as Akasha. So I think it is so empowering for us to understand that our soul wrote a plan, that all of the lifetimes we've ever lived, all the gifts we've honed through all these lifetimes here on Earth or in other planets, planes, and dimensions are all part of your Akashic record. So having that access is transformational in its own right. And so I published 2 books this year. I published 4 books total. But the one I published earlier this year is called Your Soul Has a Plan, because I realized it's so important for us to realize that life is not random, right? We're not victims of someone or something else. We made a complex plan. We chose challenging circumstances, as well as to bring forward gifts and talents and really share this with humanity as we're learning and growing. And so and then my second book this year is called Akasha, and it's actually part of a series of books called Common Sentience. And so again, I talk more about what the Akashic Records are, how they can support you, who your record keepers are, as well as there are 20 beautiful people who have written stories about their experience. So really fun to dive in and realize what accessing your own Akashic Records can do for you in so many different ways, with 20 different stories from different people, not just me. So those are 2 of the international best-selling books that I wrote this year. And I actually wrote a prayer book that was published in 2017 that's called from questioning to knowing, 73 healing prayers to transform your life. So they're energetic healing prayers. I download everything from the Akashic Record keepers themselves. So they gave me these 73 prayers to help humanity, again, to heal some of the emotional pain and trauma, some of the just the energies and patterns we've been stuck in forever. And of course, the first book I wrote was The Infinite Wisdom of the Akashic Records. And this is the how-to book. So it's very fun. If you want to check out my learn how to access your own Akashic Records using my 5-step wisdom prayer system, then this is the book for you. So 4 of them out there, of course, on Amazon under Lisa Barnett. You'll see them all. So thank you for letting me share that.
Yeah, of course. You know, what's fascinating is I feel like it really is, like Emmy said, about aligning, right? So as you're listening to your intuition, you're going to align with that purpose. And then the result, like Emmy says, that joy, right? Like you have that sense of fulfillment. So I would love for you to share with our audience more about that, because I feel like that's right on point with all of us that are listening right now, is really following our intuition, knowing how to follow our intuition, right? So we experience, oh yeah, this does feel right. I am on path because my soul does have a plan. So Em, you want to share a little more?
Sure. Yeah. Lisa, I love that you're connecting, and congratulations on all of your fabulous books. I love that you're connecting on that level. And I do feel that when we are in alignment with our intuition, and I'd love to hear what Lisa has to say about this, I believe we are accessing what may be referred to as the Akashic Records, where we know what our plan really is, why we came here. And I do believe, having spoken now with many people like Lisa, who have been really delving into this deeply for years, it seems that we do make a plan before we come here. And I've kind of come to this conclusion here in this moment that when we're in alignment with our intuition, we're really with that sort of like plan A of what we wanted. And when we can kind of get off course is maybe when things aren't aligning, or we're not feeling authentic to who we are. So the more that we can get into our truth, our authenticity, our love, our joy, our kindness, and our respect, the more that we can drop into that, we can be honest with what calls us, what we want to explore in life, what interests we have, what we want to get educated in, how we want to serve, who we want to spend time with. And when we do that, we feel our best. But Lisa, I'd love to hear what you have to say about that, because you've spent many years in this topic as well.
Absolutely. So, again, for us as humans embodied, I agree exactly with what Abby was saying in the beginning, that when we can start to consciously embody more of our soul, more of our higher self, and more of the plan that our soul made, then it does help us to be in alignment. It makes it a little easier to raise your vibration again. Inviting more of the beautiful kind of divine doorways to open, right? To be able to see what's my highest and best next step. It helps us to intuit what is the lesson in this challenge, again, instead of looking at life in the old ways where we think, you know, darn it, that terrible thing happened again. When we can start to go, oh, in my heart, I realize, you know, there's some gifts in here that I can share with other people, and brings us back into that beautiful alignment. So when we are able to feel all of the information that's actually here for us in our bodies in so many ways, right? Our clairsentience, but our claircognizant, that clear knowingness, as well as all of our other clairs, clairvoyance, clairaudience, all of our intuitive aspects, as we allow ourselves to almost peel back some of the other energies, which for many of us in human form, right? Maybe other people, other people's opinions, old programming, old stories. When we can let some of that go, then it's easier to delve deeper into our intuitive knowingness. And again, to live the life we came to live, to align to that desire of our heart and soul.
Mhm.
So really now it's so exciting because I see the ability to finally, again, after kind of watching and waiting for the last 50 some odd years, I'm seeing the vibrations raising on the planet. Gaia herself is awakening, which will help us also to deepen into our intuition and to start to, I feel like practice our practices a little bit more and more consistently so that we are more divinely guided by our heart, our soul, our intuition, and even, of course, our Akashic records.
You said, what's your best next step? And so in my experience of doing this for close to 20 years, you want to help guide the intuition so your mind comes in alignment with your intuition. So intuition is like, hey, I'm here to support you. Hey, but the mind's like, where do I go? So if you tell the mind, hey, what's my next best step? Your intuition can activate and say, go. So I think it was just last week, there was about 20 kids I was teaching. Kids know that. What do you want next, kids? They're like, oh, I want this. Okay, intuition activate. Where do you want to go next? Your intuition is that wisdom, but the brain needs to be told, hey, what's the direction? My soul's path, jumping over here, hanging out with them. What is the direction, right? So that's how you really marry your mind with your intuition. So they're working together. So you're not against your mind, you're working with it. So I just wanted to add that, when you're really listening to that intuition within you, allow your mind to also kind of marry your intuition and say, okay, what's my intention? What is it I want? And what is my best next step? I love that question, Lisa, because it just reframes it. It makes it very forward focused. And then your intuition, it creates that magic and you will know. So just wanted to say that.
I love that. Thank you for highlighting that because it really is true. I find that when my students get into doubt, is this really the records? Is this me? How do I know? Again, a lot of that is about being really in your heart and kind of out of your head, turning that analytical part of you off, and then asking questions. What's my highest and best next step? Asking, and that's, again, part of what I really teach in my 5-step wisdom prayer system, which is asking questions is so helpful for our soul, our intuition to answer us, our heart to answer us, all those aspects of your intuition to really line up and be like, oh, this is the way.
So you wrote a book with this title. How can people go from questioning to knowing?
Ooh, that is a fabulous question. So to me, it is very much about diving into your own Akashic record, because again, so many people, right, who come to me for Akashic readings come because they're like, is this the right relationship? Do I have a contract with this person? How about this business? Or am I on my, on task, working my purpose? What else is there to know? And, so we have so many questions. Of course, we have very busy brains. So when we start to literally access the wisdom that your soul really laid out for you in a plan, in your soul's plan, in your Akashic records, you can get your questions answered. So you literally go in, I teach my students to go into the Akashic records using an access prayer, which is a vibrational key to open that door. And then you start to say, so do I have a soul contract, say, with this person for a significant partnership? Does it have karmic patterns attached, or is there a support contract here? Maybe have we had other lifetimes together? What were they about? And are they supportive for this life? So there's all those questions that our mind wants to know, and we can actually answer them in our own Akashic records. And so it helps us to go out of being confused, out of having a million questions, into a space of deep heart-centered knowingness.
Mm-hmm. And for those listening who want to get a taste of their own Akashic record, of course, they have already had a taste and maybe they don't know it. What tips or suggestions can you give them that can help them to begin to access that and trust that information is accurate for them?
Well, what I always do say, and I'm sure, both you and Abby teach these sorts of things too, is that a lot of it is about practice.
Yeah.
Right. So finding ways to get out of your head and get more fully into your heart, into hearing that claircognizance, into deepening into that heart, that kind of that gut knowingness. Also, often they come together. So I love to teach really fun, simple guided visualizations to connect all of the information, the clairvoyance, the clairaudience from your mind, your sixth chakra, to the heart, claircognizance to the gut, clairsentience, that body knowing, those chills, or all of those kind of energies we feel through the body. So starting to realize that we can actually connect up the three brains in our body is very useful. I teach people a simple column of light, guided visualization, actually, again, to connect into the Akash and feel that beautiful column of divine energy encircling them. And so I love to teach students online. I have online workshops all the time to teach people to access their own Akashic records, as well as my books that actually have the 5-step wisdom prayer system. And for just a super simple idea is really focusing on your heart center and feeling that pure unconditional love that radiates from that space.
It really does seem to be at least in my experience, really the paramount way to connect with intuition is with love. And it seems that people can sometimes get tripped up in their own heads with fear and doubt, and even with symptoms of trauma. So, Lisa, do you have any stories you could share, either your own personal ones or any that you are comfortable or feel you can share of any of the clients you've worked with, about how you've helped them to dive past or heal those wounds to be able to access their intuition and their Akashic records more?
No, absolutely. So, I'm going to say that it was my own personal trauma that really triggered a lot of my path in this life. And so when I was only 13, one of my two best friends, they were very, very close soul sisters. We spent all of our time together from the time we were like 5 until at 13, my friend Marcia went into the hospital with really bad headaches and ended up in surgery for a brain tumor, and she never woke up.
I'm so sorry.
And so at 13, I realized that I had come to be a healer and that I should know how to heal her. Now, I'm 13, I have no religious training. I have no spiritual training. I have no healing, training, but it triggered that memory and that realization. And so I literally started to study spirituality at that, 14, when, again, this was way back. This is the late 60s. And Baba Ram Dass was writing, Be Here Now and Journeys Out of the Body by Robert Monroe. It was just starting to come out in a different kind of way, a lot of the new thought, new thinking. And so I started to study at an early age. And then when my second best friend died in a car accident, the trauma was just, deepened, because the first one, I felt that I failed her because I should have been able to heal her. And the second one, well, similar, but I literally went into the trauma of how unfair the world is and decided, I know we had a plan. I know we had a purpose. I'm not going there. I don't care. I'm mad. I've been abandoned. I was actually enraged, not just mad. And so I literally went off on a very different tack from where I might have gone when I was studying philosophy at the university. And I just was like, I'm over it all. I'm done. And it's not unusual for us to do these kinds of things, even as pretty conscious souls. And so I went off on a whole nother path. I went into, kind of corporate world. I was in advertising for 15 years. I decided I'm just going to have fun. I'm going to make money. I don't care what I came to do. I'm over it. And then our body often, or what we find is kind of accidents, something will get triggered and that will call us back, hopefully, easily. And that was my experience. So about 15 years, I was then in my 30s. I had really bad systemic candida and decided to find an acupuncturist who eventually said to me, I can help you heal your body, but not your soul. You should go talk to somebody. You need to talk to a good intuitive and find out what your soul wants to tell you. And so I really received that message that you're a healer. You came to be a healer. And I had forgotten. So our soul's paths, I think, are very complicated. And so part of what happened was I did start to access the Akashic Records really without knowing it, because again, back in the day, no one was talking about the Akashic Records back in the 80s, really 90s, the first 10, 15 years I talked about it, most people had no idea what I was, mentioning, compared to now, 25 years later, it's a big deal. It's pretty common. But what I found was the Akash is part of the quantum field, right? It's part of source energy. And in that quantum field, as a healer, I realized no time, space, I can go back, 5 years, 50 years, doesn't matter, 500 years, and release emotional pain from traumas. And that pain has often been stopping us from moving forward. So all the light workers who have been killed for being considered witches, or for doing your healing work, or for sharing your gifts and wisdom, many, many, many times we've often died or been imprisoned or hurt or harmed. All of that gets held in kind of that soul energy. And we also can have soul splinters from real big traumas, especially this life. If you had a real traumatic childhood, aspects of the soul can literally splinter off to kind of save us from re-experiencing that trauma. In other lifetimes, all those lives where we died again, for being a witch or for being a healer, whatever that was, during the Inquisition. It was 500 years of them killing us. It was not a good couple of years. But we can literally, and that's one of the things I love to teach my students and do for my clients, is move into the quantum so we can release the trauma, reclaim the splintered aspects, right? So it's really soul retrieval as we release all of that pain that makes us afraid to access our gifts, afraid to step out there more fully into the world, afraid to be seen, right? That's a huge piece of it for so many of us, afraid of other people's opinions, of what our family might think, right? Because there's that old story, my family, could be anyone, and maybe I'll get killed, or maybe I'll get locked away. Maybe I'll be, many times we were sent to insane asylums, over the last 500 or so years. So all that trauma is really accessible in layers as we work through what's available to us in this lifetime. And so working in this quantum field of the Akash is very profound and healing for emotional pain and trauma.
You know me, Lisa, I always love giving people an experience, because I feel like experience is one of the best teachers. So if it's okay with you, Em, I would love Lisa to maybe just take a few minutes to kind of give our listeners an experience of what she's talking about. Does that sound good? Would you be open? I totally trust you to download whatever you need to right now in this moment, Lisa. I know I totally just say it, but you know me, so you probably know what's coming. But
yeah,
they can feel, as we know, we're already connected to our intuition. So just to get greater access to it. So maybe if you have a question or you want to ask what your next highest and best step is, so you instantly can apply it to your life. I'm just so big on practical application, because I feel you have the experience, then you take the action, and then you get the result. And that's just so exciting, because you're like, oh, it worked. So with that, Lisa, go for it.
Absolutely. So what I would love to do is bring everyone into the Akashic Records with me. And so this is what I would refer to as creating a column of light from the Akashic field. And we'll have that as a gift for everyone, because that's always lovely. Then it's something you can use again and again on your own. So let's just sit back, taking a nice deep breath. I love to activate our tripod grounding system, and the way the record keepers recommend we do that is to just imagine the beautiful roots from the bottom of your feet growing deep, deep, deep down into Gaia, going down 3 or 4 feet, and then expanding out, creating a nice root system that helps us to stay present in this moment. And then the tripod piece of the tripod grounding system is your grounding cord or tail from the base of your spine. And going deep down, I like to wrap it around the crystalline core of Gaia. So we have 3 ways we're connected into the earth. Many of us light workers are challenged by being and staying grounded. So this tripod grounding system is useful. And then we come back up into our sacred heart center, inviting our beautiful 4th chakra heart to open and expand, turning into a beautiful golden ball of spinning light and pure love. And we ask the divine lords of unconditional love to help us center fully in this moment as we create this sacred space. Please wrap us in your love and protection, and allow us to travel to the highest realms of the Akasha available to us today. Please help us relay our multi-dimensional hearts open to divine love and release all resistance. Lords of the Akashic Record, please guide us to the deepest truth we can access now. Support us in healing and releasing that which no longer serves on our true path. We give great thanks for your divine love and support on this journey today. And just taking a few lovely, deep, slow breaths. You may imagine a beautiful spinning column of silvery blue or light around you, or it could be a different color, whatever that is for you. And this beautiful column of light is coming from your personal Akashic records, and your personal Akashic record keepers are here in this moment for you. And so I want to ask them to help you release the next energy in your highest and best. Whatever you're ready to let go of, old stories, old emotional pain or trauma, we let our personal record keepers just lift that, release that for you into the quantum to be recycled for your highest good. And then I see your column of light. Everyone's column of light is expanding just a little further as we're making space for ourselves to receive deeper intuitive knowingness, to start the process of connecting to our Akashic records and the keepers, the beautiful beings of light that are here for you. And I'll just be quiet for a minute or two while each of you get to take a moment to ask a question for yourselves. And I suggest something simple like, is there a highest and best next step for me to take that I'm ready to move on, please show me that door. Let me know what path that might be. Please give me a little information about my highest next step. And I'll let you write that down or download it into your body, however that comes to you. Remembering that our messages often come through, it sounds like us, but the information or energy tonality is from the Akash. So if it's something you feel you're thinking, just write it down so you can reread it later. We're just asking our record keepers also to give us a beautiful upgrade to our genetic energy, our physical energy, really upgrading the physical level blueprint, upgrading our genes. However that shows up, they're just doing a little bit of physical work for everybody and dropping in a new upgraded blueprint down into our crown chakra. So you might feel that in your head coming into your body. I see it expanding also our hearts and strengthening the Akashic energy column of light around us, because it also touches down and connects into Gaia all around us, supporting not only our lives, but really supporting our dear Gaia also as she is awakening. And we take one more nice, deep, full breath as we thank our Akashic Record keepers, these beautiful beings of light who are here for us every day. And we close and lock our records for now, and so it is. Let it be. Beautiful.
I love it. I'm like, she's the real deal. Thank you. I feel so peaceful. Like, and it, it's just when we're following our soul, there is that peace and that joy. Like my body's like, oh. I'm good. So, yeah.
Very beautiful. Thank you, Lisa. I definitely connected with the light, and I loved the meditation with the roots into the earth, and something I've never done with a similar meditation, but is connecting with all the roots of the earth, like visualizing that. And then I definitely felt a much deeper love, a connection to a deeper love. So, and I echo what Abby said about the peace as well. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that with me. And what I know of after all these years of working in the Akashic Records is that, again, it is the information arm of source. And so the energy is pure love, pure divine love and peace. There is no judgment. There is no, right or wrong. It is, they are inviting you in to your own Akashic record to feel that peace, to know you are loved, to understand why you came to our beautiful earth at this powerful and empowering time in history. And so I love that, peace. Again, I feel so blessed to hang out in the Akash every day, all the time, because it is just love and just beautiful, bright light of the divine, and that peace, that bliss. It really is wonderful.
Well, I guess I did it correctly then. And I love what you're saying about how it's such a unique time to be here on this earth. I know there are many people who feel apathetic, complacent, hopeless. With all of your experience, Lisa, what can you say? I mean, I know you just guided us all in this beautiful exercise, and that's really, I think, the work and play we all must do, right? But what can you say to folks who feel like, oh, I just see things really taking a downturn here?
Right. So I know the world is so challenging for really all of us, especially when we're deeply connected into bigger communities, often when we watch things like the news, when we hear a lot of stories from other people about the trauma, and we get kind of trapped in that energy of fear and drama and pain. And so, honestly, I find that using all the kinds of tools that we can, such as watching really a beautiful summit like this one, doing the guided visualizations, walking in nature as often as you can, because often when we do the tripod grounding system like we just did, the grounding lets us release a lot of energy from our field. And so it lets us dump some of the old negative energy off with that kind of intention. Being in nature, Gaia is happy to take it all on for us. So, and one of the things I did 25 years ago is get rid of TV. So I never watch the news anymore. To me, it's very much about unplugging from the lower energies and vibrations and choosing to plug into the higher vibration where we are going energetically. And it is a process, but again, through meditation, through yoga, through exercise, through learning to access your own Akashic records.
The term Akash or Akashic, could you just share, where does that come from? I love words, and I think that I know you described what it is, but can you kind of share why you use that term to describe what this is?
So it is a Sanskrit word that has been used for thousands and thousands of years, and it translates into sky or ether. And so thousands of years, 2,000, 3,000 years ago, the great ancient rishis would speak about what was written in the sky or in this etheric energy of the Akashic Records. And so it is been written about. It is also often referred to in the way more religiously would be the book of life, because your name is written in the book of life. And not only is it a name in the book, it is a whole library all your own, right? So each and every soul, which is a very infinite and expansive soul with whatever millions, billions, trillions of lifetimes, not here on Earth, but usually 5, 6, 7, 800 here on Earth. Thousands and millions in other places, planes, and dimensions. You have your own library so you have whatever these thousands of books along with your own librarians that are helping you to understand, to find the information you're looking for. So when I do teach students using a vibrational key, I teach you to start to talk to these beautiful Akashic librarians that are part of the etheric energy of source, the quantum field. So it is the Akasha, because it is not in our bodies. It's not really on the planet. It is nowhere. It is part of the quantum.
I love it. It's like really cool to hear like an explanation for what I feel. Like kind of like Emmy, she has like a very scientific mind, like, oh yeah, that's what I feel. Like it's really cool to have like the intellectual aspect to like really share like what our intuition knows and is feeling. So yeah, I don't really have any other questions, Em. I just love being in the energy, and just really grateful that you're here, Lisa, and grateful to you, Em. And just everybody that's listening, I'm grateful to you that you are listening to your intuition, because I know as you do, not only your life becomes better, but everybody else around you. And so it's like that ripple effect, right? And so thank you for listening to that love within you, that soul within you, and for taking your next step, So it's really, really an honor.
Lisa, is there anything else you want to share with us today that you feel is really important for our listeners?
Oh, well, just as Abby was saying, I think that it is so important to realize that when we are doing our own soul work, such as diving into the Akashic Records, coming to understand our plan, understanding those karmic patterns so we can unweave them, right? We don't just delete them all because we want to learn what we wanted to learn from that experience. But when it's complete, or as we're understanding, we are untangling, unweaving, rewriting some of our own Akash. And that does ripple out into the world. So when you are doing your own healing work, when you are giving yourself that beautiful love and time to meditate, to be in nature, to raise your vibration, this really is the way we're going to transform the world. Each soul at a time, helping, raising their vibration as we all raise our vibrations, just a touch, right? It ripples up and up and up. And eventually, I believe that it will be a tipping point where everyone on the planet will awaken. So I am a big fan of doing your own soul work, taking good care of yourself, and really learning to dive into your intuitive knowingness and your Akashic Records to support your life and your family, your community, as it all ripples out. So it's a joy to be here with everyone.
Thanks, Lisa.
Thank you so much, Lisa. Now, you also have a gift that you're willing to share with everyone. What is that?
Oh, absolutely. So we did is a process. We did the column of light meditation, and I would love to offer it to everyone as just an easy downloadable, little MP3 you can put on your phone. I think maybe it's a 10-minute recording, because I like things that are kind of short and succinct, because I know, we don't usually have a lot of time to sit down and meditate for an hour, but it's a beautiful recording with some music in the background to bring you back into your Akashic Record through the column of light energy. And so it's something that you can start to practice as a way to start to play with and access and ask your own questions in the Akasha.
Wonderful. And how can people access that?
So I think we're just offering the link down below, and then they can just download it. So super simple.
Awesome. Thanks for providing that, Lisa.
My pleasure. Thank you, Abby. And thank you, Emmy. It was really a joy to get to hang out with the two of you today.
Oh, I've really enjoyed it. And I think that this is a really great example of how we can all raise our own vibration and really connect with the love of who we are, and really allow that to ripple out to others as well. So thank you so much, Lisa.